Okay. There we go. Now I can share. Share.
And how do we go about doing that?
Oh, so I go. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Asmaaa will send you the link. One moment, please.
Okay.
Okay, we're on live, guys. One moment. Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to Queen Dawn Spirit Reiki Masters channel, guys. Much love to you all. Thank you for joining today. We have a very phenomenal special guest. My co-host Asmaaa is here. You know, she's the magical alchemist. She's a neurologist. She's a vegan chef. She's a teacher. She's a healer. She wears many hats. So I'm honored to have her as a co-host of my show. And then we have a phenomenal visionary, Kerry, of its holistic life. Holistic healing?
Yeah,
Holistic
holistic
life healing at the Holistic Village. So I'm so honored to meet this phenomenal king, and he's going to share with us so many things and gems with us today. So share this video, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, tap down below, right down there to the left. Okay, share this video, subscribe, and so we can go out into the the YouTube universe and help other people. So welcome, Kerry. How are you?
Doing wonderful. How about yourselves?
Amazing. So you're in Honduras.
That I am.
Okay. So how long have you been there?
About 12 years, more or less. I've been there about a little bit over a decade now.
Okay.
It's been so long, I forgot about living somewhere else.
You couldn't think of living anywhere else?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what made you on that journey? What took you to that journey to where you are today?
Well, it was a little bit of a few things. You know, I always look at what I call universal signs. And I was actually looking at relocating. I knew I wanted to leave the States. I was thinking about going to Africa. That's where I was looking at. And at the same time, I was doing my genealogy research on Ancestry.com. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it gives you like hints and clues like of possible relatives. And it kept giving me all of these clues for here in Central America. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking like, they're tripping. And so I got to a crossroads and I had to call my grandmother and find out what her maiden name was. And when she told me it was Tejada, and I was like, damn, that's, it just opened the door. And so when I found that out, I found out that, part of my relatives actually came from this region and the other part, from over in Louisiana. And that's kind of how the blend came. And so it made me open up my eyes a little bit more to what they were saying here in Central America, thinking that, that there was no people like me over here. And then around the same time, I discovered this man, this, healer, and he was boasting all of these things. And he just, it was Dr.Sebi. And I was like, wow. He was from here. So I was like, well, they need to really look at this, because to me, those were, like signs, those were like universal. They were subtle, but they were signs. And so I looked into it, and I was going to come down and visit, but I was like, I've never been the type to just kind of stick my toe in the water. Either I'm going to get in or I'm not, so.
Wow, that's amazing. So you actually worked with Dr.Sebi before?
Yeah, when I initially arrived, I was fortunate enough to be able to spend my first 5 months here with him.
Wow, that's a blessing. You know how many people, how fortunate you are, how many people would have had, I would have loved that opportunity just for a day, just one day. But we have a student of his or an affiliate of his, and that's an honor to be connected with you through Asmaaa. And thank you, Asmaaa, for the connection, Queen.
No problem.
Thank you. So when you, did you know anybody there before you went there?
No, I just knew of him. I had never spoken with him. I had spoken with one of his daughters before, but I never spoken with him. And so it's just kind of like worked out that way. I came down. I've never really, I've done that many times in the world. I just don't. You know, I've gone places and just, you know, not knowing anybody, anything, and just kind of explored. That's what I did here.
That's brave. That's really bravery. So you just went down there, didn't know anyone, and decided to set up shop there, and then here 12 years later, you're sitting before us. So tell us about your village.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that we both had the same concept. You know, one of the things that we wanted to do was to have a place, not just to come and heal, but a place to live that's based, you know, the foundation in healing. And before we got a chance to really get those, you know, those wheels in motion, he transitioned. So I mean, you know, that's always been the vision. That was the reason why I came here. You know, because before I came, it was me and a couple of friends of mine, because I transitioned my lifestyle. I started doing meal prep for people before I left the States. And I met a couple of guys, and we were all supposed to come down and visit the village, you know, visit Usha. And only one of us got a chance to go. And when he came back, he was like, man, you need to go down there and talk to that man. Everything that you talk about is the same thing that he's talking about doing. And so it was just like a frequency thing, you know, we just kind of like had the same thoughts, the same ideas, you know, the same vision. And so, you know, when he said that, I was like, you know what, that was another catalyst for me as well. You know, once I found that out, I was like, you know what, it's another universal sign. I'm just gonna take the leap and come down here and see, you know, and here I am. Here I stand.
So you packed up your stuff and you just moved down there just like that.
like the Beverly Hillbillies. Remember that?
Wow. That is so. Now, how many times were you there before you decided to move there lock, stock, and barrel?
0. When I came the first time, I came to stay. You know, because I was gonna leave. I was leaving the States either way it went. So I'm gonna go to Africa. You know, I mean, it's not like it's right down the street. So you can go down there, and I said, you know what, you know, where I want to go and what I want to do in life. You know, I think that this is the way that I'm being led. So I just kind of stepped out on faith.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you one more question, then I'm gonna hand it over to Asmaaa, this beautiful Asmaaa. So when you moved there and you set up shop there, were you at the place you're at now?
No, I wasn't. When I initially came, I was there with Dr.Sebi at Usha. I stayed there, and then when I left there, I got a house, which I still have right down the street, you know, so that I could be, you know, very mobile. It would be easy for me to get back and forth. And so, you know, and I mean, over time, I've just accumulated, you know, houses and property and things like that. Just, you know, just kind of keep building. I mean,
what?
You know, it's a process, yeah, but it's gradual, it's consistent.
You building an empire. So did the pandemic affect you at all?
Definitely. It slowed a lot of things down, because most of the people who come to me for healing and, you know, and for direction and learning and everything, it's coming from the States. So once they shut everything down, you know, it was pretty difficult, you know, for people to travel. Well, it was impossible for people to travel.
Right. So, but what about the locals? Did any of them catch the you know what? I can't say the word because y'all don't want to get censored. So did anyone catch that situation?
You know what? I mean, I've heard about it. You know, I mean, I've heard about it, but I mean, as far as actually witnessing it, I mean, it wasn't an issue here. I mean, we still have the mask mandates and protocols. You know, you still go in places and they want to take your temperature and all of that. But there was never really I'll say an endemic or a pandemic, you know.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna hand it over to Asmaaa because she always knows how to ask all the great questions. So it's over to you, Queen.
So I wanted to ask, are you? Because I've been to Honduras, I've been to Usha Village before, and I wanted to know, are you in Jutiapa Atlantida or are you in like Sambo Creek?
Well, I'm close, right? I'm between La Ceiba, the city of La Ceiba, and Sambo.
Okay.
Yeah, my other house, the one that I was speaking about, that's in Jutiapa.
Oh, he got several houses. How many houses do you have, brother?
Maybe about three or four.
Okay, that's what's up. So you do healing in all of them?
Well, no, Yeah, I have a no. I have a designated. I have designated, spaces for people that's coming to heal, and then I also have, communal members that stay in the other houses.
Okay.
So, you know, right now we're in the process of we're looking for land in the mountains. We have land near the ocean, but we're looking for something a little more elevated. And so we found some, but once we get that all situated, then we'll start actually constructing and building up in the mountains, and that's where the community will be. But it's going to be like a process. People will come through this because this is kind of like a transitional place. And I say that because it's similar to what people are used to in the States, but with the tropical twist to it. So it gives them an opportunity to adjust. Because you take people straight out into the to the bush, it's beautiful and everything, but you talk about some cold turkey, you're gonna have some problems on your hands.
Yeah, they sound like me. I quit red meat. I quit beef and pork, but it was hard at first. But you're talking about like totally going all natural. So that would be, okay. I would have to definitely psych myself up for that. Go ahead. I apologize for interrupting you.
It's completely fine. We all just sharing space and everything and talking, ciphering. I wanted to ask, if you had to highlight one of the benefits or some of the benefits of living in Honduras that you've experienced, what would you say are some of the benefits and what would you say are some of the challenges?
Well, I would say the benefits is, hands down, the environment, the environment, people. This reminds me of how the United States was maybe 40, 50 years ago. The people still, the neighbors share. Everybody in the neighborhood, and things like that. Life is pretty simple, and things like that. It's quiet, at 7 o'clock at night, you think it's midnight because, it's quiet. You don't hear anything, no lights, So those are some, for me, living the type of lifestyle that I live, those are some of the biggest benefits, being here. It's just being connected to the environment, and not having to, like right behind me, there's a couple of mango trees, coconuts, rose apple, blueberry. It's so much food and medicine in my environment that I don't have to seek it in other places. That's one of the biggest benefits. The challenges is, I guess you could say the same things. For me, it's not as challenging because I kind of look forward to it. I kind of look at it as a bonus, but, things are slow. Things are slow. It's not exciting. And, it's not like you're going to walk out and go to the pub, what I mean? It's a little bit different than it is in the States. So that can be challenging. It's not as many, you can have these luxuries, but, they're not as easily accessible and available. Things like, water. We've had times we had to go to the river and carry water back in the buckets. But, sometimes you turn on the tap, it may not be there. You know what I mean? But to me, that's all part of the experiences. I could easily buy a washing machine, a washer. I wash my clothes by hand, on the washboard, and things like that. Some people, that might seem like a down.
Bit much.
Exactly. But for me, when I first saw that washboard and I got here, I was excited. I was like, man, I hadn't seen one of those since I was a child.
Right. So tell me something. So when you, so say that someone of me, because I'm looking for places to do retreats in. I know one of the places I'm going to do a retreat is definitely in Jamaica, but the setup that's going to be in Jamaica that I'm going to do a retreat will probably be totally different from how your retreat would be in Honduras, and it would be really natural. Everything's going to be natural in Ocho Rios, but also with you, it would be a total different atmosphere. So for someone like me, hey, I want to do a retreat at your village. What would you suggest, and what would the setup be? What would the itinerary be?
Well, just depending on, of course, we're based in like health, and not just, physical health. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual. These are arms and legs, all arms and legs of the same body. So depending on what I wouldn't say the theme, but what the basis, the foundation of the retreat would be, we would kind of set up around that. So let's just say, for instance, if you wanted to do like maybe a couples retreat or something like that, or or if you wanted to do, then we would kind of structure it based on that. And the environment, I mean, it provides a lot of different, amenities. So there's always going to be things that'll coincide with whatever you want to do, but it would be more, I guess it would be more so just kind of based on what the theme of it would be, like what the basis would be. And so we would just build around that. I mean, if you wanted to do things like some people come and, it's like we may spend a couple of days in Roatan, which is one of the islands where the cruise ships go to, or we may go to the ruins. Like, every year they have yoga retreats and things up there. So it's like, it's a lot. I mean, it's a small country, but it does have a lot to offer as far as natural amenities and things like that go. And luxuries here as well. You can find those things as well, but
Okay. And then if I did a retreat there, would you have lodging at your village, or would they stay in a hotel and then be bussed into your village?
Well, what we would probably do is we would probably secure lodging, and I have a couple of different people that I work with that have like different I don't want to call this, it's just spaces that have different kind of set up, kind of similar to what I have. They have houses and cabanas, or even like hotels and things like that. And so what we would do, we probably house them in one of those spaces, and then just based on what the itinerary is, we would kind of because here we do most of the cooking classes and things, yoga, and and different things, so for those types of activities, we would come here, and then we like to take people out to experience the culture. The culture here is rich. I had no clue, but the culture here is very rich. You would think you were in Africa, literally. I mean,
I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, and so, we like to get out and see some of the local things, like, different exotic beaches and, waterfalls and hiking and all of those things.
Okay. So, and then you would fit it in so that they would come to the village, like if I did a 4-day retreat, they would have a couple of days come to visit your village for a couple of days and learn how to cook and prep and how to cleanse and heal themselves. Exactly. And then they can go back to their lodging, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. And would you have transportation, or you would help us provide transportation for the people that wanted to come?
Yeah, I mean, I have, well, depending on how many people it is, but it doesn't matter. I mean, we can always get, transportation. That's not a problem.
Okay. We're definitely going to do something with you. I just got to talk to Asmaaa and see how we structure that, because I'm going to do something in Jamaica, but I definitely want to do something in Honduras, because I want to detox too. Even though they say food that we're eating is organic, it's not really fully organic, as you know. So I definitely will be coming down there. I got to talk my husband into coming down there. So as long as he got something to keep him occupied, he'll be fine with it. So I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you. Asmaaa, did you have some more questions?
I do. I have a few questions. First of all, I wanted to say you're brave like me, because I'm the type of person that just goes places and I'll go by myself and just venture out. Like even the first time I've gone to Honduras, I went on my own and everybody was like, do you know anybody out there? I'm like, no. So I definitely understand that that free spiritedness of just taking the journey and taking it head on. I wanted to ask you, because I know that you do cleansing and you kind of touched on it a little bit, what are some of the things that you offer at Wholistic Village?
Well, I like to think that we're bridge builders. And what I mean by that is no matter where you are on your journey and where you're trying to get to, we help you get there. So, and the cleansing and detoxing, that's like the foundation, I mean, before you can do anything else, you got to get the body, back into balance. And so that's one of our specialties, and also we like to teach people, because you can come here, drink the herbs, eat the food, feel great. Then you go back home and you thrust back into that environment. And it's like, what do I do? And you kind of, sometimes you can end up even worse off than you were before you came, simply.
Wow.
So we try and offer, we try and give people that, I guess you could say mindful reconstruction. What I mean by that is brainwashing. We look at the word brainwashing like it's a bad thing. I mean, it's the English language, so it's backwards. But But I mean, you wash your car, you wash your hands, you wash your, your clothes. All of these things are good things. So why is washing your brain a bad thing? And because we're operating on so many of these programs that we don't even realize it. I mean, we have programs on top of programs on top of programs that we operate on, and we don't even realize it. So we help people to kind of, work through those things. And I mean, a lot of people, a lot of the different things like anxiety and depression and things like that, I mean, can be so easily dealt with, and I mean, that's why I was saying that the all of those different things, the mental, the emotional, the physical, the sexual, the spiritual, putting all of those things in the balance will help to bring people, to where they need to be. And so that's our specialty. Wherever we see a person is lacking at, that's what we'll work. It's just like going to the gym. If you go to the gym and you're all swole up top, but your legs are this big, then we're gonna put you, we're gonna work on the legs more. We'll still do legs to catch up,
Right.
So that's what we do. That's it in a nutshell.
So would you say, with that being said, would you attribute holistic healing solely to food? Because you did kind of touch on mental health. So what is holistic healing to you from your perspective?
It's all facets of it. You can't separate. You can't separate it. It's just like saying my arm is, is sick. It's not, the sickness is not in my arm. The sickness is in my body. So you have to address all of the different modalities. And this is one of the things that we've gotten, one of the programs, Western medicine is a program. We've gotten sold into this program that, we localize symptoms and we treat symptoms. You don't look, we're so far away from treating the body as a whole. That's what it's really about. You have to address all of these things. You have to address all of these things, because somebody could come to me because they're having, sexual dysfunction, not really knowing that it's something that they have going on emotional. A lot of times they think it's, but it could be something, some type of trauma that's playing itself out, from an emotional standpoint, that's transferring over to now into that where they can't really, connect, or even, from an emotional standpoint, it could be something that you put in your mouth a few years ago that's sitting in your gut, sending out. So all of these things have to be addressed, and that's why I say we look and see what needs to be addressed the most initially, and we try and, we'll put a little bit more effort in addressing that, but the ultimate goal is to bring everything into balance.
Okay.
So, could you also speak to alkalinity for the people watching who may not know what alkalinity is? Can you kind of give a breakdown on what alkalinity is and why it's important to keep your body in a more alkaline state?
Definitely. Alkalinity is the direct opposite of acidity. Everybody knows what acid is, but a lot of people aren't really familiar with alkalinity. Our bodies are naturally alkaline. Our blood is slightly alkaline. It needs to stay at the level of 7.365, which anything 6.9, there's a chart. There's what they call a pH chart. Anything below 6.9 or below is considered acidic. 7.0 and above is considered alkaline. The blood has to stay in an alkaline state. So when you eat things that are acidic in nature, which most of the things that they give us today are, it kind of robs the body of nutrients, because what happens is the body starts pulling these nutrients, these minerals basically is what it is, because minerals are alkalinity is minerals. So it starts pulling these minerals from wherever it needs to in order to keep the pH of the blood balanced. So what happens over time is, let's just say, for instance, Eskimos, I'll give you a prime example. Eskimos have the highest rate of osteoporosis of any culture of people in the world, but they have a predominantly fish-heavy diet. That's all they're eating is fish, uric acid. So what's happening is the body's continually pulling the minerals from their bones, the calcium from their bones, to balance the pH, because the bone structure is probably the heaviest and most dense source of minerals in the body. All of your organs have minerals, and so, like, let's say, for instance, you're dealing with something like diabetes. Well, maybe the body's been pulling the minerals from the pancreas. Now it's weakened, because when you pull the minerals from the organs or the tissue or wherever, it weakens it. And this is, going back to osteoporosis, what happens over time is, as it's pulling all of the minerals out of the bones start to get, brittle. They become porous. So keeping an alkaline state is, it's paramount. and it's through the food. The food is the number one source, of either alcohol. I mean, food is either going to help you or it's going to hurt you. There is no in between. I don't know of any food that's like 7.0. You know what I mean? Either slightly alkaline or slightly acidic. And see, we have to keep in mind too that we live in a world of duality. So there's a plus and a minus, a light and a dark to everything. And so alkalinity and acidity are both now, like I said, our blood is about 7.365. That's where that's slightly alkaline. There's a condition called acidosis where the body becomes too acidic, which is, it can kill you. And there's also alkalosis where the body becomes too alkaline as well. So, what happens is we kind of get caught up in, because we've been eating acidic for so long, we try and push the alkaline window, way past where we can, past the threshold. So what I do is just, find that balance. I mean, for when you first transition over, like if you're coming from a SAD diet, standard American diet, and you're, you want to eat more alkaline things, and you always want to eat alkaline things, but you want to try and get the body, because you're trying to, right the ship, it's trying to create that balance. Once you just maintain, it's just maintain. You don't have to go overboard. Just, I guess for me, I'm making it sound a little bit differently because the way that I think about things, I mean, I'm not going to if I put something acidic in my mouth, like let's say, for instance, they have these things here called baleadas. It's like a soft taco, but I just get it with beans and avocado. And I don't know what it is about it. It's so simple. It's just a tortilla, some beans and avocado. But I know that the flour isn't, I know that it's acidic. I'll eat these on occasion. But, if I eat 1 or 2 of those, then I'm going to, I'll probably fast. And, and so I guess for me, like I was saying, where I am now in my journey, I kind of find the balance in those. But, for people that's just really starting their journey, I emphasize stay as close to the alkaline side of things as you can. Because, we've been consuming these acidic things our whole lives. So it's time to play catch up.
So how would you suggest so what do you think is the best and safest way for the average person to start, say they want to start tomorrow fasting in America or other countries that are not as natural as where you are? What would you suggest as far as fasting?
I would say to start off, go get you some, seeded, organic, as organic as possible fruit, and even some green veggies, and start there. You want to do maybe like start with the fruit. You'll just eat only fruit for a day or two, and then you can do only liquids for a day or two. Then you go back, eat a day of fruits, and then you can go back and eat a day of cooked foods and things like that. And we have. We do have this is the same thing as Dr. Sebi's recommended foods list. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty. We recommend, if you're going to eat cooked foods, to stay within the bounds of those while you're cleansing and fasting. And then, go back after, a day or two of eating regular foods, a day or two of fruits, liquids, go back into fruits. And it's just like a progression. And if you do it like that, you'll find that you're fasting, 3 to 4 days out of the week. Without even really done. And you won't suffer, because the reason why most people fail is because when you just cut the food out and you're trying to go 2 or 3 days and you've never done it, the last meal that you eat before you start a fast has a lot to do with the success of your fast as well. So when you do, it helps to cleanse the body out. It helps to set the digestive system up to be ready for, because once you stop eating, not to put y'all all in my business, but when I fast, like I'm fasting, well, I ate yesterday, but I've only eaten maybe 3 times in the last 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
When I'm not eating, I poop more than I do when I'm eating every day.
That's true.
Wow.
It's true when you're cleansing.
Exactly, because the body goes into elimination mode. Once you start putting things in your mouth, it shuts that down and it goes into processing the food mode, breaking it down and everything. But if you leave it alone and you start fasting, you'll be like, where is this coming from? You know what I mean? And just looking at that, it gives you an opportunity to see that you're walking around, pardon my French, full of shit.
Literally. Let me share something. Can I share something real quick? I want to share my screen. And it's gonna, and I pulled up the list. So hold on one second.
That's definitely happened with me with when I do juice fasting.
Uh-huh.
I'm literally not eating food, but I'm using the bathroom more frequently than I would if I was eating cooked food. So like juice fasting, I get so much energy and it's just amazing. It's amazing. The benefits, the way I feel, everything. Like, so
can you guys see this list?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, this is not the whole list, but I'm giving you the opportunity to screenshot this. Let me see if I can bring us out of here. I don't want to do something goofy. It's going to mess it up. Let's see. Okay, so if you guys can see the list, the fruits and the vegetables, can you explain is this pretty much what you're speaking of, Kerry?
Yes, this looks exactly like what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, so screenshot this list, or you can always Google it. They talk about, you know, the natural herbal teas, the grains, the mild flavors that you can use. I'm gonna print this out too. The oils, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the sweet flavors. And
So
then Dr. Sebi's do not eat, I'm sorry, the Dr. Sebi's do not eat list, food list. Okay.
There's a question in the chat, Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Someone wanted to know Kerry's advice on water fasting, how to do it safely and the benefits.
Oh, good question.
Okay, well, water fasting gives the body an opportunity to really flush itself out. To go into it, I would say initially, do like I said before, start with the fruits, then do a day or two of juices, and then go into it. And like what you were just speaking about when you were saying when you juice fast, the fruit sugars acts as like a solvent. I mean, it breaks down, you know, what we call they call it plaque and all of these different things, but all of it is mucus. It's just different stages of mucus. You know, plaque is only hardened mucus. So what happens is fruit sugars breaks that down. And then, you know, the higher the level of antioxidants, the more oxygen it's bringing. So the oxygen is basically going in and breaking a lot of that stuff down. So as far as, you know, juice fasting, you want to do, like I would say, at least 2 days of that, and then go into a water fast. And just depending, and you have to listen to your body too, because, you know, if the elimination process gets too intense, you know, then I would say eat something, you know, preferably like a leafy green or something like that, or even some fruit. But keep in mind that, like I said, the fruit sugars, they accelerate the process. So if you're already feeling sick and dizzy and, you know, like you're being poisoned, which you are, because all of these things that are in your body are now being stirred up and they're passing back through the bloodstream again, then that's when you want to eat something, you know. So if you're water fasting, as long as you're good, listen to your body. You know, if you start feeling, you know, a little fatigue, it's nothing to worry about. But if you start feeling very fatigued and, you know, you start getting lethargic and things like that, then that's at that point you'll at least, you know, want to do some type of juice or some type of fruit, if not a leafy green, you know. And the thing is, it's like fruit, well, just straight fasting, you know, dry fasting is the most effective. After that, you have like liquid fasting. Then after that, you have fruit fasting. Then after that, you have, you know, like raw foods fasting, or just raw foods. And then after that, you have cooked foods. But now keep in mind that you can still be going through the cleansing and detoxing process, eating cooked foods, but it's going to slow it down immensely. You know, it's going to slow it down immensely. Veggies, they slow it down a little bit, but not as much. Fruit, you know, you still moving pretty quickly. You know, water or just air, then that's when you really get it.
Well, you know, I'm sitting here looking at this list. Excuse me, Asmaaa, I hate to cut you off. I'm looking at this list of what he's saying, do not eat. And I'm like we're talking about curry, cumin, garlic, honey. He's like saying these things are not collard greens, jackfruit, maca. I mean, he's saying stuff, peppermint, no spearmint, like things that were supposed to be healthy for us. He's saying don't touch it. Cashews, black seed oil. do not eat food list. This is incredible.
It's
Like
a little intense, huh?
aloe vera. Are you kidding me? Almonds, apple cider vinegar. This is stuff you do not eat.
Well, you know, this is one of the reasons why I came here, is because the list was a little bit different then. I mean, it was like they had corn chips on the list, but they didn't have corn. And I called up to ask them, you know, like how they was like, oh, it's something in the way that they process them. And I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna make this my lifestyle, I need to, you know, I need some more. So I came down here, and that was some of the things that I asked them about, was, you know, some of the things that you're talking about now. You know, and there's different reasons for different things, like for instance, almonds. You know, there are certain varieties of almonds that are good to eat. And then there are others that are, you know, that are they have, you know, cyanide, I believe, or arsenic. I'm not sure exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I believe it's I want to say it's cyanide. But one thing I would say also in over the years, my studying with Dr.Sebi, because that kind of led me into, you know, when I got into plant-based eating, I was looking at Dr.Sebi's stuff. I was looking at Dr. Africa and different people. One of the things that I found interesting is that he talked about getting the original source of something.
Exactly.
And the original source of it being in an alkaline state. But you also got to keep in mind, the beautiful thing about this list is it's composed of a lot of research, food, and it's changed over time. So it's kind of a general list. It's not the only foods, but it's a general list of, that's why it's called a guide. It's a general list of based on Dr.Sebi's research and whomever he's worked with as well, the looking at foods as a whole and general foods that typically are the best for the diet and typically are not the best because of the history of processing, because the history of hybriding the foods and messing with the DNA and all that stuff. But I know that the original almond, if you're able to get a place with the original almond is not acidic. The original almond is alkaline, but the almonds that we have access to specifically in the States tend to be acidic because of all the things that they do with food here. So I just wanted to chime in for that part.
This is insane. Y'all have really opened my eyes up even more. This is like all the things that they're saying that we were supposed to be using, that they're pushing in commercials and at the stores, that these organic, so-called organic stores, markets, and they're saying we shouldn't even be touching this stuff.
You know, and the reason being is because a lot of these things are not, like Asmaaa was just saying.
Asmaaa.
Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, I just said Asmaaa. Yeah,
that's all right.
No, as Asmaaa was just saying, a lot of these things are not in their natural state. A lot of these things have been cultivated. A lot of them have been cultivated in the laboratory on top of that, you know. So, you know, the original part of it is I mean, it's missing. You know, the molecular structure is not stable. So what happens in the body is that it causes different things. Now, some of these things you might be able to indulge, and this is when you're healing, you should be, you know, as strict as possible to this. You know, if you're maintaining, you know, if you have a piece of this or, you know, one of these or a piece of fruit that may not be on the list on occasion, it won't kill you, but you don't want to make these things staples in your diet, because then you're going back to the, you know, to the same way you just came from, just on a different side. A lot of people think that, oh, just eating vegan, you know, I mean, it's going to be the answer to all my problems.
No, it's not even half the battle. Yeah.
Exactly.
Moringa, mint, oh my, mustard greens. Oh, this is stuff that I love. Parsley, peanuts, pecan, pineapples. Come on, man.
Pineapples are very acidic.
Plantain.
So with that being said, Kerry, I wanted to ask, for the people who may not be well-versed in alkalinity and acidity, the balance, what would you say is the percentage of alkalinity and acidity that a person should consume in their diet?
I would say at least 75-25. You know, I mean, you could see, you know, you can go 70-30, but I would say 75-25. You know, and I mean, it depends on where they are on their journey. If there's somebody that's trying to heal, they need to be 100. They need to be 100. Yeah. You know, if somebody that's just maintaining, they're in pretty good health, and you know, I would say if they don't want to ever get to that point of needing to heal, then keep it about 75-25.
75, you mean 75 alkalinity and 25 acidic?
Exactly. And when I say acidic, I don't mean like, I mean like if you're eating something that's, like the things that's on the do not eat list, like a pineapple, for instance, or, what I mean, things like that.
They're saying that some of these things that you take out of your diet would even heal schizophrenia. Are you kidding me?
You would be surprised at the connection. The gut is connected to everything. Everything, your emotions, your thoughts.
Wow.
You put the wrong thing in your mouth, it changes how you think, what you see before.
Impotency, disease-free. Wow. Wow. Guys, you owe yourself 90 days. I'm doing this definitely before my 59th birthday this year. I'm definitely going to change that's my gift to myself, is to change my whole way of eating. Cabbage. I'm like, brown rice. Like they said, we're supposed to be able to eat this stuff.
Well, see, you have to keep in mind, there's healthier and there's healthy. There's a difference, healthier things like brown rice, still healthier than white rice.
Yeah, right.
Black rice too is, is healthier, but wild rice is healthy. Now
I made some hair oil with black rice. And because I had put these locks in my hair, the artificial locks, and it had weakened my hair. So I had a couple of spots in my hair where it was really weak. And I made the black rice oil with rosemary in it. And it grew back, it strengthened my hair and it grew back really fast.
See, some things I think can be used, and Kerry, correct me if I'm wrong, can be used externally. They still have certain things have healing properties. Like, for example, digesting aloe is considered acidic if you're going through Dr.Sebi's frame of paradigm, so to speak. But aloe is also a cooling agent. So if you have a burn or something, or you burn yourself, or you have eczema, sometimes just putting aloe on your skin will also cool it down and stop it from burning and itching.
Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't mean throw the whole aloe plant away.
Okay. Thank you.
Be mindful of what we consume, how we consume, and where we are in our healing journey, as Kerry, I believe, mentioned. So like he said, if you're someone who is trying to heal from an illness, you want to eat as closely to 100% alkaline as possible so that you heal. But if you're someone who just wants to maintain a good state of health and not drift over into illness, you want to have about 75% alkalinity at least and 25% acidic. Am I right, Kerry?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, preach, y'all. Come on now. Oh my God. Even I knew broccoli, Dr. Sebi said broccoli was not good. Beets is a hybrid plant.
Yeah, it's one of the most genetically modified plants.
Y'all look at this. Education.
Corn, soy, those are probably the three top most, genetically modified crops that they grow. I mean, talking about 90% of over all of those three crops that I just named, about 90% of them are genetically modified. So those are things that just it's sad, but that's the world that we created, and this is one of the ways that you can actually help to change things into the way that you want it to be, is how you spend your money. Because as long as we're buying these other products, they're going to keep on selling it. But if we start, like if they notice that this stuff here is staying on the shelf more and this stuff is flying out, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get more of this other stuff.
Keep replenishing it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Mustard greens, oranges, pumpkins, squash, purified water, distilled water. We're slowly killing ourselves and making ourselves sicker with this stuff.
And
you said soy, like my daughter is a vegan. And I'm going to send this list to her. Turmeric. I take turmeric pills. I was taking cinnamon pills.
Turmeric
And
and cumin.
yeah, I see that.
Uh-huh. Well, both of them come derived from the same plant. They both have curcumin, which is the active element in them. And its molecular structure is, I mean, basically, its molecular structure is kind of like plastic. So when you eat it or you consume it, you know, it'll attach itself to your kidneys, because your kidneys is like filters. They filter all of the liquids, you know, they regulate all of the fluid that's in the body, the lymph fluid, the blood, everything, water. And so the turmeric and the curcumin and the turmeric and the cumin, they attach themselves to the kidneys, and you'll start, you know, over time, it'll start weakening the kidneys.
Wow, I'm going to throw that away.
I mean, just look at certain regions, like, you know, where they eat a lot of cumin at, you'll see a lot of problems with eyes, you know, a lot of diabetics and a lot of eye problems. And, you know, I mean, a lot of these things come into play because what we don't realize is that the eyes are liquid crystal, Sinclair. Is that
right? They said they even saying tomatoes.
Yeah. Well, it just depends on what type of tomatoes, you know.
Except for plum or Roma, okay, or cherry, okay. And then vitamins.
Yeah, a lot of those things are synthetic. You know, a lot of the vitamins and minerals are synthetic. You know, they derive them from synthetic sources, or they derive them by synthetic methods. Because if you think about it, everything starts off natural. This is where alchemy, the alchemists we're fortunate enough to have. This is where alchemy comes into play at. When you combine certain ingredients and you add heat or different elements to it, it changes the molecular structure. And this is how, because plastic is derived from natural sources, if you think about it. But it's the process that it goes through that makes it unnatural, you know, that makes it, you know, and it can't be changed back. The earth can't break it down the way that it does a piece of paper or, you know, a wood or something like that. And so
that's crazy.
Keep that in mind.
And then the St. John's wort. I was taking that. I got to go in my cabinet and throw all this stuff away, man. I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing. And
at least you're trying, because I think, especially in the States, I think that trying is on the path.
Right.
I think that
I'm not a fast food junkie.
Trying, your body is a little bit in a stronger state than when you're not trying. And you guys actually made me think of when you were talking about the turmeric, when you were talking about things like black seed oil. You hear a lot of good things about black seed oil, about having a lot of healing properties, but long-term use of black seed oil will damage your kidneys and your liver.
Wow.
And I remember having a friend of mine who I went to college with recently, maybe a few months back, her baby, she didn't tell me all this time that her baby had real bad eczema. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? So she was saying that the doctor prescribed her to give her baby, this is a baby under 2 years old, black seed oil. I said, stop giving that baby black seed oil immediately. She started making natural creams for the baby's skin. And she was like, you know, I started doing my own research and I got like 80% of her eczema on her body cleared up. And she was like, I'm trying so hard. I said, you're doing good. You're trying. At least you're trying. You know what I mean? But she said there's a patch on the baby's face that won't go away. I said, take the black seed oil out of the baby's body. She said, oh, I only give her a few drops every day. I said, that is too strong. I said, that's strong for an adult. I said,
yeah, my daughter's face was behind that. Yeah,
right. And I told her to replace the black seed oil for the baby with burdock root. Give the baby burdock root tea. I said, you can make it like an iced tea. You could make it like a warm tea. And I also told her to take just a cup of water and squeeze some lime juice, fresh lime juice in it. And that will help clear up the skin. And so the last time me and her got a chance to speak, she was saying that it was helping the baby heal and it was doing really well for the baby. But I was like, yeah, that's going to ruin the baby's. That's why the baby's itchy and scratchy and crying and in pain. You know what I mean? That stuff is not helping. So we have to be mindful of when we prescribe certain things. Like Kerry said, there's healthier and there's healthy
ways of living. Yeah.
You know, so for example, the coconut is considered alkaline. It's healthy. But if
he was drinking that, I started drinking that coconut water. I was jealous.
But further down on the list, you see it discourages the use of coconut sugar. It discourages the use of coconut flour. So once happening in that process between it becoming from the coconut to the coconut sugar and the coconut flour that's making it not healthy. And then you add heat to it. And I think that becomes carcinogenic. Am I right, Kerry?
Yeah, like coconut oil. There's two.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oil, and then you have like refined coconut oil. You know, any of the oils. I mean, once they reach a certain heat index, they become carcinogenic. You know, so you want to try and, you know, coconut oil. I mean, I use it for baking. You know, I'll use it for baking or some, you know, something like that. But as far as like frying, I mean, I very rarely fry things these days anyway. You know, I got a couple of air fryers for when I want to, but as far as frying things,
yeah, here's the oils. I see that. Okay.
Yeah, avocado oil would probably be your best bet. I would even take grapeseed oil off of there as well.
Really?
Don't fry with grapeseed oil?
Well, I mean, you know, it's on the list, but Dr.Sebi had, you know, he used to talk about it all the time that, you know, he's saying the grape seeds have, I forgot, arsenic, or I can't remember if it's cyanide or arsenic in them.
What? Because I knew about the coconut oil and the olive oil, but I didn't know about the grapes, because I cook with grapeseed oil. So now I can't use that. I got to use hemp seed oil or avocado oil or sesame seed oil.
But, you know, but hemp seed oil is good. I wouldn't necessarily fry with it, but avocado oil is, that would be the route to go.
Which one?
The avocado oil.
Okay.
Because it's got the highest, I think the heat index on that is 425 or 450 degrees. As opposed to refined coconut oil is 350 degrees. What's the name of it? Cold pressed coconut oil is about, you know, and what I'm saying is when you heat these oils up over that temperature, it changes the structure of the oil itself, and it becomes carcinogenic. Like, you know, like coconut oil, regular coconut oil, I think is like 250 or 275, somewhere around there. Sesame oil is, you know, I wouldn't fry with it, but I do use it for sauteing. You know, and then you have toasted sesame oil, and you have regular sesame oil.
Okay.
And even like with coconut oil, you have refined coconut oil and you have cold pressed coconut oil. They're different. Refined is derived through heat, so the molecular structure is already changed. You know, so that's why I fry with that. Cold pressed coconut oil, if you heat it up and fry with it at that particular time, that's when, you know, it's not healthy. You're gonna basically add a lot of saturated fat to the food.
Oh wow. So so you're saying if you're gonna cook with fry with any of, then only cook with avocado oil?
Yes, if you're gonna fry, that would be your best bet.
Okay. Vibrant Beauty said they see alkaline water, distilled water is a do not eat list. Should we only drink spring water?
That's the best suggestion. And the reason being is because distilled water doesn't have anything in it. You know, it doesn't have any minerals. And alkaline water, you know, depending on how it's derived, how does the alkalinity derive? I mean, if it's from a Kangen machine, is it reverse osmosis? You know, it's a lot of different ways that they make water alkaline that's not necessarily from a natural source. And it changes. I mean, you know, you have to understand something about water. Water is liquid crystal. And it just reminded me of the point that I was saying about the eyes earlier. I'll touch back on that in a minute. But water is crystal. Every time you pour it, you structure it. So whatever you pour it into is structured. And as it's, you know, the way that alkaline water is made in nature, I mean, you know, the rain distills the water. This is the whole distillation process. The cloud, that's distilled water. You know, the clouds move to the mountains, the rain comes down. Now you got distilled water running down into the rivers. But guess what? The rivers are full of what? Rocks. Then the rocks are made from minerals. And so as the water is hitting these rocks, it's breaking down the water molecule, making it smaller, you know, adding oxygen to the water. And it's also absorbing the minerals from the rocks. So this is how the alkaline. That process, you don't have to worry about it. And this is why spring water is suggested, because that's all spring water is. Once it's, you know, it goes through that process, it's stored in, you know, in underground aquifers or, you know, in springs, and you can drink it. Now, reverse osmosis, you know, that's done, you know, through electrolysis, which is they putting electricity in the water. It makes it alkaline, you know, because I mean, that's what alkalinity is electricity, but it doesn't have an effect on the body. And so you can drink these waters and it'll make you feel different. Maybe just depending on how sensitive you are, some people, and they'll feel weird. They'll be like, and it's because it's literally changing, the frequency, the vibration of the body itself, because you're drinking some electrified water now.
Right.
It might help or it might hurt, just depends on where you are with your vibration. And so, and then you have like Kangen machines and, all of these different other devices. I mean, it's better than drinking some sewer water, or you know what I'm saying, some tap water that's, full of chlorine or whatever, but that's not going to be your best source. Your best source will be spring. If you can find a spring, a natural spring somewhere, then, that's going to be your best source.
Right. Okay, well, we're not going to hold you on too much longer. I really appreciate you, Kerry, coming on to educate us. Did you have any more questions, Asmaaa, before we shut it down?
Yes, really quickly. I just wanted to tell everyone, Kerry has his email up there. If you're interested in coming to his village, coming to heal, coming to take a break from everything, all the toxins that we're breathing in here, that we're eating, you want to cleanse, I highly recommend going to Kerry's village. Kerry will set it all up once you email him and let him know when you want to stay and make the accommodations. Go there and cleanse. Give the body a break. It's very important to cleanse at least 4 times a year with the seasonal changes. You want to make sure that you're cleansing your body out. As Kerry mentioned earlier in the show, he talked about how we wash this, we wash that, but we don't wash our brain, we don't wash our colon, and so forth. So it's very important to be able to be inside of a natural environment and isolate yourself a little bit so that you can heal on other levels. Last, before we leave, I just wanted to ask Kerry, if you could recommend 5 herbs, so to speak, that everyone should have in their home or consume on a regular basis, what would that be?
Ooh, well, I mean, just to stay healthy, I would say definitely, sea moss. See, here we have different herbs. I would say cola de caballo or horsetail. Horsetail is a good one.
So you said sea moss.
Horsetail.
What's the other one?
Horsetail. Because
horsetail. What's horsetail?
It's you when you see it, you would know it, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it because it grows everywhere. Like a lot of herbs grow everywhere. We just don't recognize them in that form. It's very rich in silica, and it helps amend things. Like your fingernails, your hair, and all of those things. So that's.
I actually use that on my hair formula.
Okay.
And people be growing their hair.
Okay.
See? Okay, I'm gonna think of some things that you guys have access to there, like burdock. Of course, burdock. Elderberry.
How do you spell burdock? Is this B?
B-U-R-D-O-C-K.
B-U-R-O-G-C-K. Okay. And what else?
Elderberries.
Elderberry. That's my girl. That's what she does. Elderberries.
And I'm kind of torn. I want to say cannabis, honestly. Literally, people look at it as just smoking it, but smoking is that's the
worst you can do.
Yeah, the worst way you can get it. But it's so medicinal on so many different levels, and depending on what people are dealing with, from a physical standpoint, it helps in so many different ways, and then even from an emotional and and mental. Teas and eating it. It has a very, very, very adaptogenic effect. So it helps people to be able to bridge the gap between, a breakdown and being normal. So that's one of, that one. And so I guess that is 5. So I'm gonna leave cannabis as one of them.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Is there any other ones other than that?
Yeah, well, let's see. Elderberry. I would say guinea hen weed, guinea hen weed, which is
what is it?
Guinea hen weed.
Can you put that in there for me, Asmaaa?
Yeah, I'm putting it all in there as we speak.
I got Okay, I put them in there. The other ones in. If you could put the other ones in there, that I stopped at cannabis.
Okay, you put it in the chat though. You didn't put it in the in the
I
live
think you
chat.
can see. They can't see it in the screen.
You put it in our chat.
Oh shoot! But it says everybody.
Okay, I'm typing it.
Okay, cool. Okay. Thank you, Queen.
No problem.
All right, I'll take that out then. I thought they could see it on the screen, but they can't.
Those are some good herbs too.
All right. So, is there anything else, Queen, before we sign off? Because we've been on here over an hour.
Really? Time.
Yeah. Sounds like you're having a good time.
We've been here. It says started. Well, it claims 59 minutes ago, but we actually started like 3:30. So we're having. But guys, listen. Don't wait for my retreat, because there's only going to be a certain amount of people that I'll probably do in the retreat, like 12 people. That will be my magical number. But go before our retreat. Go meet this phenomenal, amazing king. He's American, and he moved down there into his roots, his indigenous roots, and he's vibing. He's doing the daggone thing. He's doing the real estate thing. He's doing the healing thing. He's living his best life. He's accomplished more in the 10, 11, 12 years you've been there, more than anyone has accomplished in their whole life. Okay, because this is right. This is right, because he's cleansing his mind and his body and his soul, and he's teaching people how to do that. So definitely check. You give them your contact information for those who can't see it. Can you read it out?
Yes, it's Rainman. The email is Rainman, REIGNMAN 306 at iCloud.com.
Awesome. And if you guys need the information, you don't happen to get it, you can always contact me on my website, which is queendawnspirit.com. Of course, you can contact Asmaaa. That's her Gmail information. You can get a neurology report, talk to her about vegan recipes, and she has a YouTube channel too. So definitely, we're going to put it in the description. Asmaaa, tell them about all your contact information.
Yes, my company is called Return to Pachamama. Return to Pachamama. I'm on Instagram. The Vegigasm Cookbook is my first cookbook. Make it more. Everyone is going to have a different style to it. So you can find me with the Vegigasm Cookbook. I also have an Instagram called Vegigasmic Flavors and Vegigasm 2. I'm on TikTok, Vegigasm Cookbook Series. I'm on Facebook, Asmaaa The'Alchemist. And I have a lot in store. If you need an astrological / numerological reading, you can email me and I will do that for you. In addition to that, I do the early childhood teaching. I just started a YouTube channel that I feature or do read alouds to small children on. So definitely check that out. That's RTP Children's Network, where I'm doing these dramatic read alouds for the little babies.
I love it.
Thank you. And there's so much more in store. I'm honored, Queen Dawn, that you have me on your platform. I'm honored to speak with my brother Kerry again. I've known you for a few years. Never made it out to your village yet, but I gotta go.
We're going.
Already out there. It's coming.
Yes. Very beautiful spirited brother. And he's invested in healing. You know what I mean? And it's important that us healers link up and support one another, people that walk in their authenticity as healers. And so we can help one another heal, because there's ways that Kerry could probably help me. There's ways that I can help Kerry, and I can help Dawn can help us. And
help one another.
So this is that time of the healer. People are really starting to see how important healing work is. They're just starting to see the importance of it. You know, it's a fad right now where you have people getting into it, but there's people that's really true to this. And if they're true to this, you definitely want to link with them. You definitely want to support them. So please reach out to the brother, support him. Reach out, subscribe to Queen Dawn's channel, support her. Subscribe to my channel, support me. And we're going to keep this going.
So we're able, you support us, and then we'll be able to help more people, help more masses of people. Do you have a Cashapp or a PayPal that you use, Reggie? I'm calling you Reggie. I apologize. I'm
looking at Raymond.
Read your email. Your email. Excuse me. Do you have a Cash App or PayPal, Kerry, that you want to share for anyone that may want to donate to your village for the cause?
Sure, we have it. I'll put it in, but it's a Wholistic 9, WHOLELISTIC 9 at Cash App.
Holistic 9.
Okay.
At Cash App. So Holistic 9 Cash App, right? Okay.
I'll type it in the thing.
Type it in the chat. Yeah. Okay. And then put yours up too, Asmaaa, in case someone might want to donate to you for your cause, because you really connected my community with a lot of phenomenal people.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you wanted to say, brother, in closing?
I mean, just, you know, we're here for y'all, you know, just like the sisters was just saying, you know, we support each other and we can keep it going. And I mean, we really have to look at things communally. You know, we have to look at things as building together, because you know, collectively, I mean, my hand by itself can easily be broken, but collectively, it becomes it's the same thing with us. Like, you know, I always analogy that one ant can easily lift 10 times its weight. 2 ants working together can lift over 100 times their weight. So that's just you know, the power that we have in collective consciousness and just moving collectively.
Hold on a second. Okay, show. Okay. Well, thank you once again for coming on. I want to thank you for taking our time in your beautiful tropical weather, because I know you live your best life. And I'm looking forward to coming down there too and connecting, bringing my husband down there. We come down and connect with you and see what I can do about healing my body even that much more.
Well, you know, I appreciate you sharing your platform with me, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, we're gonna get you guys out here. We're gonna get you guys out. But see, I have to warn you though, most people that come, I've had, I don't know how many people come and they'll come for a week and they'll extend it out. Others, man, can you know, help me find the house? Can I get some property? So you might not want to
It's addictive, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I wanted to stay out here, so I understand. I wanted to stay out there. I went to Honduras. I was like, I don't want to go. I was crying. I had a dream I was crying.
Wow.
And I woke up in tears, like, oh, I want to go back to the States.
I feel it. That's how I feel when I come to visit. That's how I feel when I come to visit. I'm like, man, I get anxious. I'm like, man, you know, because I mean, we don't realize the amount of exposure we had there, but I can hear the Wi-Fi there. Like, you know, when you get around all of these trees, it's quiet. When you get like in a city, you know, I mean, all you hear is screeching noises, high frequency pitches, and it's just, you know.
Yeah, I don't like the city. I don't care for the city. I like the nature. I don't want to hear buses and trains going by me and you know, all the noise. And I like the peace and quiet. When we lived in when we had our house in Massachusetts, like we had 3 acres and you couldn't hear anything. It was so quiet. When our friends came to visit from the city, they were like, what is that noise? And I'm like, what noise? I said, that noise. I said, that's crickets.
Yeah.
They're like, crickets, that's weird sound. I said, well, you know what's weird sounding to me is listening to fire. And my husband's a retired firefighter. But us listening to fire engines and ambulances and cars and stuff, that's annoying to me. Exactly. You know, they say, I can't sleep without that noise in the city. I said, well, I can't sleep with that noise in the city. It gives me anxiety. So the country I love everything about nature and country and connected with Big Mama or Mother Earth, whatever you want to call her. Exactly. So, all right. Well, thank you guys once again. I love y'all so much. Hang on, Kerry and Asmaaa. Thank you, my wonderful, phenomenal people in my community. Thank you for taking out the time to listen to us and to learn how to help heal yourself. Share this video, press like on this video so it can go out to help many more people. So it will spread like beautiful, holy fire, okay? All right, guys, namaste, Ashe.